Xicana Boxing here with a dynamic duo. We have Coach Gloria and Coach Andy Aguilar. All right, you guys are fairly quote unquote new to the scene, but not really because you guys have a lot of history in the sports and doing what you guys do with the fighters. Tell us a little bit about this new duo because you guys have been doing your own thing separately. Your coach Gloria training your daughter, training many champions. You with the strength and conditioning. Let us know how this came about and how you guys are working together. How you're liking it?
You want to start?
You first.
How it all started was actually through Instagram because I was just actually working out. I got finished with the whole day of training of camps of fighters, and yeah, Gloria just DM'd me and said like, oh, it's like I don't know if you're looking for amateur fighters, if you do strength and conditioning for amateur fighters. And I'm always open. I'm always open to take on any new fighters that are willing to work hard in strength and conditioning, especially if they're open to it. Because the idea is still a little bit different and new for boxing. So I'm like, absolutely. It's like, who is your amateur fighter? And she says, oh, it's actually my daughter. And it's like very young, talented young lady. She brings a lot to the table. She works very hard. I'd love the opportunity to work with you because Gloria first discovered my Instagram page, seeing Leo Santa Cruz, Jaime Munguia.
Name drop, come on.
And yeah, I was like, oh yes, absolutely. And then she proceeded to send me Roxy's Instagram and images of her, and I was caught off guard because no, literally a few days before this, I was actually looking at WBC's Instagram page because I'm always actively looking for new boxers to invite into my camps, and I saw an Instagram post of Right Hook Roxy, and I'm like, oh, who's this young lady? Huge resume. It's like very well accomplished. I'm like, okay, who is this girl? She looks very talented. And I saw that she was an amateur. One, I wasn't dealing with any amateurs back then. So at the time I was like, maybe in the future. And also two is like, you know what? Just the aspect that she's so popular and she has such a large pedigree, I assumed she already had a huge team behind her. It's like, I don't want to waste her time. I was a little, I was a bit reserved. I was very reserved. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to reach out. She's probably just going to decline me right away. But no, and then the DM was literally Gloria and Right Hook Roxy. I'm like, oh, it's like, I know who your daughter is.
Like a mental thing.
Yeah, literally a few days. Yeah, a few days later. And I'm like, absolutely. It's like, I know who your daughter is. Like, she's extraordinary. Yes, please. I love the honor to train your daughter. And yeah, that's literally how we kind of connected. And she's like, oh, when can I see? And I asked her, it's like, oh, when can I see your daughter to start camp? And Gloria's like, yesterday. We're starting right away. Like, yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it literally kind of flourished to this great team now.
Now I want to ask you same question, but also, had you done strength and conditioning before with your fighters? And if not, how do you see the change in the fighters that you're training now with Andy's input right there?
Well, yeah, pretty much. We've done strength and conditioning in the past, but old school stuff, the ropes, and we really had until I met him. We really had no idea what we were doing. So I said, yeah, leave it to the professionals. So when I reached out to him, we were going through a dark time in our lives, and it was just my daughter and I, and I was going through Instagram. And like he said, he had mentioned, I was just scrolling through, I don't know what I was looking for. And I ran across his page and I saw Leo Santa Cruz. I saw Munguia, who I just happened to see fight for a world title, and I like him. So I went back and I clicked on his page and I said, oh, this guy is really good. He's very professional. I've never seen anything like this done before. I mean, he had great video. Everything just looked nice. Like, it was just professional. And there was something about him that I just felt he's the one. I really, don't really trust anyone with my daughter, but I just felt something told me he's the one. Reach out to him. And like he said, I went into his messages. I messaged him. I guess it's called the DM, whatever it's called.
Slid in the DMs.
Professionally.
How? Yeah. Slid in the DMs.
Yes. I mean, he's a good-looking guy. You can't have, but no. But yeah, I had to reach out to him, and I just felt like a bond, a connection, without knowing him, without hearing his voice, it just said he's the one that's going to take my daughter to the next level. And I allowed I allowed myself to believe in that. And so, yeah, I felt that bond with him. And I reached out to my daughter and I said, Roxy, come here, come on the bed with me. And she got on the bed and I said, I want you to pay attention, look at this, and I want you to tell me what you think. And I played the videos for him and she just looked at me. She goes, I like what he's doing. And I said, say no more. We'll reach out. She said, when are you going to reach out to him? Do it now, mommy. And I did. And he took him 5 minutes to get back to me. And like he said, when do you want to start? I said, yesterday. He said, I'll see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock. And the rest is history.
Okay, now how do you guys in the short time that you have been together feed off of each other? Because you just mentioned that, you know, you did the regular old strength and conditioning. Some people don't even do strength and conditioning. They jump rope and they call it a day, right? So how do you feed off of his, you know, strength and conditioning mind? And he does a lot of reading and he posts all this information on Instagram, which I'm like, he should be charging for this information. But also now you are no stranger to boxing, but you're trying to, like you said, constantly looking for new talent, new people to add to your resume of people that you train. How does that, you know, match with you guys and, you know, merging those two things together?
For my case, especially with being partnered with trainer Gloria, I really do rely on her because of the whole boxing aspect. I am versed in boxing, but her eye and her mind is just a whole different level that I'm still trying to comprehend, and I'm continually learning everything from her and through her eyes too. I do my best to be there when she's mitting and also when she's sparring all of her athletes. I'm trying to always understand the whole game through her, so it's really, really impressive. So at this point in my career, I've actually been a little more selective about the strength and conditioning camps because of the fact that I trust her judgment. And I was like, okay, it's like we have potential here, we have potential right over there. And it's just an aspect where it's like she really literally fine-tuned the whole prospecting, the prospecting opportunities for new talent to come into camp. And literally, I trust her. I trust her completely because her mind is just amazing.
I'll get back to that, but I just want to say the strength and conditioning, I leave it to him because I have no idea what I'm doing in strength and conditioning. And I mean, this man is amazing. You've seen his videos. For the first 2 years that I was with, you know, around them, I would just sit there and just stare at him. My daughter trained with him and him with all his athletes. Even when my daughter was done, she would go to the arm bar to get a shake. I would still sit there and watch him work because I just thought it was just magic the way he trained these fighters. And I said, okay, if people are going to trust me because they know me, I have to fully trust him. And I have to see his work. And I have to see how he treats his athletes. And I have to see how he trains them. Because when I put the word out there that this man is the real deal, they're going to come in flocks. And I'm going to bring them 1 by 1, 2 by 2. And I have to know how to pitch him to them, you know? So I kind of leave all the strength and conditioning to him. I just watch him. He's amazing. He's what do I call you? The athlete whisperer?
No, flocking they are because, of course, you already had your resume. Like you said, Leo Santa Cruz, Jaime Munguia. You had Andy Ruiz for a camp, Ivan Redkach. Now, come on. How do you feel like now that you got a bunch of other athletes, not just boxing? You know, it's ballerinas, it's NFL former players, it's like women athletes. How do you take all that in, all this growth? Because yes, you're focusing on boxing with this amazing team, but also they are coming in flocks of people just coming at you. What helped this? How are you feeling now with all this going on? Are you overwhelmed at all?
Not overwhelmed, feeling overwhelmingly blessed because of the fact that, yes, everything is just a blessing because I've entered the field of strength and conditioning to really provide the opportunity of the benefits of strength and conditioning to the sports that have either been shunned away from the whole strength and conditioning field because it is true that there's coaches that don't want to apply strength and conditioning to certain sports because, like, oh, it's a waste of time. It's not a sport that needs to be focused on for strength and conditioning application, or the other way around. Or certain sports like ballet, for example, they never considered strength and conditioning. No, we just need flexibility and grace and rhythm. There's no need for strength and conditioning. So this is why I actually went into the field. I wanted to share the education of strength and conditioning and how it can actually be applied, and it actually can improve and enhance any single sport. And this is why ballet, boxing, of course, MMA for within UFC with Daniel Rodriguez. I just recently acquired an actress that has a superhero role that she's going to be pursuing, so I need to have her train like a fighter so she can portray that superheroine character that she needs to play on film. And yes, it's just an aspect where I want to continue to apply performance, strength, and conditioning because it works. It definitely works. It just needs to be applied correctly and methodically, and it just changes lives.
Now, earlier, Coach G mentioned about a fighter who someone came and says, we need him to punch harder, or we need a better power output. How do you, with strength and conditioning, again, help bring that out in a boxer who maybe they already have power, but maybe they're just not using it effectively, or maybe they just don't have as much power, and you can make that better?
With that, it's really just a systematic approach. It's a lot of communication between myself, the athlete, and also the head coach. I need to be in continued communication because of the fact that we need to always break down what's going on with the athlete. Because you pointed out correctly, some athletes enter camp with very low knockout percentages, but they demonstrate an immense amount of strength in camp. So, okay, if statistics state that he or she is very strong, there's other variables in play. And this is just up to the strength and conditioning coach to really communicate. Is it nutrition? Is it sleeping habits? Is it stress? And just like how you pointed out, it could be just how they're doing the strength and conditioning. Maybe they were just bench pressing and deadlifting their whole career. They got strong, but they never transferred it into their fists. So it's an application of, all right, let's do some jumps. Let's do some medicine ball throws. Obviously, more complicated stuff than those basics, but it's kind of what paves the way for pure power translation into their fist that a lot of athletes don't understand. It's like if I deadlift heavy and if I squat heavy and I bench heavy, I'm going to punch harder. It doesn't necessarily come to that. There needs to be different systems in place that helps transfer that into your fist and your kicks or grappling if we're talking about MMA.
Now, you talked about the training, and some trainers don't welcome strength and conditioning into their camp. How do you two do the whole camp schedule? Do you guys do the same day, or is that too tiring for the athlete, or do you guys take turns, so do you alternate?
Well, when I started with Andy, I explained to him that most boxers spar Monday, Wednesday, Friday. They also do sprints those days, that my camps do, and most boxers do that. And Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, most of them go to the beach or they go run mountains. So I asked him, we spar at 10 in the morning. What do you recommend? We do strength and conditioning in the mountain. Our legs are practically dead. We do after our sparring where we're not exhausted, we're not tired. We have to do it after. That way it doesn't affect our sparring. So we came into agreement that I would run the schedule the way I needed to run the schedule, and he would compensate. Well, how would you say, like,
Oh, yes,
you would
accommodate
us, yeah, and that's basically how it works. And most fighters, they do strength and conditioning on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday after their sparring.
Yes, some cases, definitely.
Okay, so let's bring up like your fighters. Recently, you guys been very busy. Some fighters just fought last week, two of them, right? Talk to me about those two fighters and how surprised were you guys, if at all, because maybe you're like, I knew that was gonna happen. How well were you guys with their performance? If what did you think of their performances?
Well, anyone that works with Andy is going to be at their top, the top shape of their life, and it's going to be a life-changing transition of body and strength and balance and speed for them. I knew they were going to perform well. I knew that one kid was going to get a knockout. I almost bet money on it, but I forgot to. I was like,
name the kid.
I'll let him name if he liked. Yeah.
We had two fighters fight last week. It was Eren Alameda that fought Luis Netti for the WBC title, and it was Rudy Garcia Jr. who was fighting an aggressive fighter. Rudy Garcia is undefeated. He was brought into my camp because his father and coach wanted Rudy to increase his KO percentages. They just wanted more KOs from him. And this guy that he was facing, he never was knocked down, never lost by TKO or KO, only lost by decision. I think 4 fights, but he was also a brawler. I believe he had I want to say he was maybe had 10 fights and 8 of them by knockout. So it was a pretty dangerous opponent. And yes, he actually stopped them. He stopped them in the 4th round through body shots. And that was like, the father was just happy. Obviously, Rudy Garcia was extremely happy too. Aaron Alameda did a great job against Luis Neti. Stuck to his own game plan. The whole process in preparing Aaron Alameda against Luis Neti. Luis Neti, a very well-respected boxer, very powerful, yeah, very extreme. He is an elite. He's earned his keep as the top of the division right there, especially with his monstrous strength and power. And that was my expectation. So with strength and conditioning with Aaron Alameda, I pretty much tempered his body to, one, not only be able to handle the power that's being delivered towards him, but at the same time to re-deliver it back at any moment. So it was really just preparing Aaron for an all-out war, because that's what Luis Neti was going to bring to the table inside the ring. And that was demonstrated at that night. Even though Aaron Alameda did lose by decision, I'm very happy with how he performed. He had a great physical performance right there. He demonstrated he belonged up there too.
Now,
Sorry. The funny thing is, I was meeting Luis Neti before they took the fight with my son-in-law's fighter. Aaron Alameda is a fighter of my son-in-law. So when they took the fight, I automatically stepped out of the camp because I was with him. And I was meeting him, I was wrapping his hands, and that kid, I'm going to tell you, that guy is super strong at 118 pounds. I was like, no way you fight at 118
well, sometimes he doesn't make weight either.
Yeah.
He's like another tank.
But he's like a mighty mouse. Like, this guy is like, I told him before I don't join your camp in the U.S., or after, I said, man, that guy hit punches like he's kicking me. Like, I could feel his power, So he prepared. I told him we had to prepare. You have to prepare. Is, the stamina, he's got to have like great stamina, because this guy is dangerous.
Was that a concern for you too, to be like, oh, maybe the power's gonna be too much, or were you like, no, we got this?
No, we don't fear anyone. Yeah. Team Elite Smith doesn't fear anyone.
Yeah, it's just I don't enter or begin any camp with fear. It's just all statistics and logical approach to right, because the body can change as long as you can organize the strength and conditioning. You can literally change the body from someone that can't take a punch to someone that's literally a brick wall and will not move from a punch. Yeah, so you can literally change the body in those manners. Obviously, some genetics might come into play, but as long as we can apply a great strength and conditioning program, just like with Rudy Garcia, with somebody, he has a little bit of trouble knocking out opponents, we changed his body physiology, he's going to start knocking out everybody from this point on. It's all about changing the body.
You heard it here first. All right, also, we have Leo Santa Cruz, who's been with you for how long now?
It's already been 6 years. 6 years.
That's loyalty right there.
Yes.
That speaks for itself.
Yes, like Leo's been with me for 6 years. I have acquired him for the very first Modest fight, and that was for a world title fight. So it was.
He's only lost once, and that was like a controversial.
And that was such a good fight.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes, and he came back for the rematch, completely dominated right there. And yeah, he's fighting Gervonta Tank Davis. This is a fight contested at 130, but the 130-pound WBA, along with the 135 WBA, will be up for grabs for this fight. So it's a very exciting fight. It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's a pattern. Like I'm getting a lot of fighters that are fighting against the stronger and bigger individuals. But yes, for Leo Santa Cruz, it's more. It was recently announced that it's going to be now in Texas, and it's now going to be on Halloween night. That's great right there. It gives me another week of preparation for Leo, for Tank. For him, it's just more. The whole strategy there was exactly the same, making sure that Leo can absorb those power shots, because we all know that Tank is there to throw power. He's going to try to hurt Leo. And Leo has a very solid chin, very solid body. He's just one of those pressure fighters that can box also, but he's going to come in with volume too. So it's going to be one of those classic matchups where you get Leo Santa Cruz, an immovable rock, and you got Gervonta Tank Davis being something of just a destructive force of nature, and they're just going to collide right there, and it's pretty much going to be a match on who breaks first. And I've been preparing Leo like immensely. This is probably one of the hardest conditioning camps he's been in, along with body tempering. I've made sure that he does have the power, because by the end of the day, we need to make sure Leo can hurt Tank through volume. There's like we got to make sure every single punch is going to hurt him, and he's going to throw. My prediction, he's probably going to throw at least like 150 to 200 punches per round. I believe he's going to break a record. If this goes all the way to the 12th round, he's going to break a record in total punches thrown and connected in this fight, because he's going to come with everything, and this is what we're preparing Leo for, just an all-out war with Tank.
How do you guys take the dismissiveness of fans? Like, Leo, skinny dude coming up, he does not stand a chance against Gervonta. Some people are calling him a sacrificial lamb from PBC, serving him to Gervonta. Do you guys, take that as we need to kind of focus on this certain aspect of it, or do you guys just not let it get to you at all?
I never let it get to me, because of the fact that these type of statements have come to me in the stable that we have through Jose Zepeda when he fought Ramirez. Mm-hmm. When they had that matchup, everyone's like, "Oh, Jose Zepeda, who's that? That's a nobody." It's like Ramirez is going to finish him in the 4th round. And there you go. Yes, and it's just literally, I've been dealing with these type of, like, I guess, public eye statements, which I understand. It's casual boxing fans and also hardcore boxing fans that are fans of the opposition. They say what they need to say because they have complete support of the opposition. Completely okay with that. That's what my job is, and that's the value. That's the value that I hold from my job is that I bring the pretty much the most pristine strength and conditioning program I can provide for the fighter. So when they enter that ring, there's going to be absolutely no way possible the opponent will outcondition, outpower, outstrength my fighters. I have complete confidence in that, because I've ran into this situation all the time before.
Like,
right. My fighters are supposed to lose. They're just a tin can of sacrificial lamb. They literally come out of the fight like, oh, there's this guy. Yeah, like, wow. It's like that guy was amazing. It's like, I can't believe he did all that. Well, it's just all organized and systematic approach to strength and conditioning. It brings up the physicality.
Let me say this. It's almost like he had said, it's like they're getting these dangerous fights, and I kind of see, like, the more these fighters are faced to more like a bigger and better, like, fighter, a name, or, a dangerous fight, that's when they come looking for him. Like, he's the man. So I know he's the man. So if you're out there, stop playing with your careers. Call my guy.
By watching Gervonta's fight against Gamboa last, Gamboa was an older guy, right? And he go, what was it, 11th round stoppage, right?
With one leg.
Yeah, so does that kind of give you like a kind of a better perspective of what you can expect? And Leo is obviously better than Gamboa. Does that make you feel like, okay, well, if Gamboa was able to, accomplish that, not getting knocked out cold by Gervonta, do you think that is like, oh, we got this?
Oh yes, definitely. It's like, I mean, I always try not to let outside influences affect my mindset, because then that will start to trickle down into my programming and my structure. So if I literally enter camp with Leo Santa Cruz with the Gervonta fight, I'm like, oh, I saw the Gamboa fight. It's like, I just need to work on Leo's conditioning. He's gonna just take him to deep waters, and we'll win from there. I always treat every single camp as, okay, this is my last opportunity to prove myself. That's how I always say. Even though, like, I'm like, thank God, my name is never on the chopping block for strength and conditioning career, but like, that's how I always approach every single camp. Like, this is a make it or break it fight. Do your best. Program specifically for the need of the fighter to make sure that we can take advantages of the weakness, any perceived weaknesses of the opposition, and strengthen the fighter's strength tenfold. I always approach it. So I never really pay attention so much to, oh, it's like he performed a certain way at this fight. I just look at the common denominator. I literally just see, like, okay, what has Gervonta done well? He's knocked out everybody. Okay, he's very explosive. He has a very hard punch. He's extremely fast. He comes forward. he does have the ability to box. So I look at a lot of factors on what Gervonta does well. Is okay, what can I provide from a physical standpoint for Leo to negate all of those factors? So we see a possible advantage for Gervonta. How can I negate everything and give either Leo even ground or a huge advantage? So that's literally my job right there.
Now, you two as coaches, and especially with the strength and conditioning and the nutrition and all of that, you guys, it's no secret that Gervonta does fluctuate in weight, and he does come in heavy. A lot of times he misses weight. We see that, when the paparazzi catches him, he's got a belly on him.
What me and Coach Andy do is we rewire their whole system, learning how to eat, learning how to sleep. I tell them, you guys are fighters. You're not normal people. You can't eat like a normal person. You can't sleep like a normal person does at those hours. You guys have to, feed your body. Because if you have an 8-week camp, and here's the thing I tell a lot of fighters, and a lot of world champions make the same mistake. If you have an 8-week camp and you're 30 pounds overweight, you just wasted 4 weeks of that camp, Jenny Craig in it. Like, literally, like fat camp, I mean, in reality, it's like, no, it's funny. I know it was funny because it's supposed to make people laugh. It's a freaking joke when you start your camp 30, 40 pounds overweight. We start from day one, gallon of water, eating 4 times a day, rewire their whole body. I have fighters in here, they're not used to eating 7:30 in the morning. They're throwing up because their body can't take the getting up at 4:30 in the morning, running the mountain, coming back home, eating, resting, waking up, eating again, training. And it was just too much. It's clean. It's detoxing their whole body. So, and like I said, the fighters, the professionals that make millions of dollars, they have nutritionists, they have all these people, but they're not professional. And that's what he says, you got to respect the other person and be at weight. Don't wait 4 weeks into your camp. Now I dropped 30 pounds. You have that extra 30 pounds of weight on you. Everything, train how you're going to fight. If you're training slow because you have 40 pounds on you, your camp is not going to be the best camp. That's the way I see it.
Lastly, because sorry, I asked you guys a lot of questions.
We like it.
Let's talk about the fighters that you guys acquired. Sean Garcia and the Baldera Brothers. Now, with Sean, the case is that a lot of times when you're the little brother of a big star such as Ryan Garcia, who is not that big of a fighter in terms of championships, but he's very, very popular, you kind of get overshadowed immediately by that. And the Baldera Brothers, Carlos, who is coming from a devastating knockout. How do you guys approach these two very different scenarios?
Well, for Sean Garcia, for both, for Carlos and Sean, it's just really, Gloria and I, we really work hard in making sure that these individuals and any other boxer that does come into the stable, they're individualized, they develop as their own character. And through that development, confidence must be built. That confidence not only is built through them with their daily activities, it's also coming through us too, with trainer Gloria, with the boxing skill set, giving him the confidence in the ring, giving him the confidence to do combinations, certain skills, certain movements. And me, it's more of like the physical confidence, really power development, speed. They feel the strength, they feel the speed, they feel the balance. And we're pretty much on the same page about that, making sure that we're together really enhancing and pretty much empowering every single boxer to the whole idea is like, hey, it doesn't matter what media portrays yourself as, it doesn't matter what the peanut gallery or the soundbite is around. You're your own boxer. You're going to develop as your own boxer, make a name for yourself. And the name happens, one, obviously on social media, and two, inside the ring and in front of the camera also. So we really just enforce that character development with all of our fighters.
I mean, we communicate a lot. The fighters that we do have, everyone has their own character. Everyone has their own bad days or the things that they're struggling with, and kind of getting off the subject. But yeah, we communicate a lot. If I can't communicate with him throughout the day because he's always extremely busy, and I am too, like we are putting the owls to sleep and slapping the roosters awake. You know, that's just
She
the way
would literally call me at 2 a.m. while I'm studying. I'll answer. All right. So what are we discussing today? And we'll be on the phone for 2 hours.
She was actually saying that earlier.
Yeah.
They're both like night owls and wake up early anyway.
Yeah. So I mean, we are awake before everyone else is awake. We make sure we don't sleep until everyone else is asleep. You know, and we communicate. And every time I bring a new boxer to him, I'm gonna tell him this is what this boxer needs. This is what they're. And now I trust him so much because I know his work that I just let the fighters go. Well, I don't do a lot because I don't want them to think I'm not on them.
Yeah.
But sometimes I have to go to San Diego.
Sean made it very clear that you're on them.
Funny story. You want to hear that story? Okay, so I was over there in San Diego with Team Garcia, and Sean was already here, and I did not let him out of the house because it was like a quarantine, like a kind of, you know, probation camp. You cannot leave this house. And so I went over there, and Ryan wanted me to cook him something. So I was like, okay, I cooked, and I ended up cooking for like 10 people. And so they hid the keys from me, and I finally got my keys, and I drove like at 1:30 in the morning, and I told Sean, I'm going to be there. And Henry had told me, I told Sean that he's going to go to the gym with Carlos, and it's okay. I said, no, I need to be there with them. Oh, no, it's okay. They're grown. I said, you don't understand. When I have a routine, my it sails straight. And anything that rocks it, I kind of like, I lose it. So I ended up 1:30 in the morning, called him. He's like, you're awake? I said, yes. I said, I'm going home. He said, you need to go rest. He said, I'm staying on the phone with you till you get home. From San Diego all the way to LA, I got home.
Real MVP.
And Carlos asked Sean, it was already like 2 in the morning, because you think she's really going to come? He's like, I don't know, bro. She's pretty dedicated. Here I come and walking 3:30 in the morning, like, oh my God, she got here. So yeah, I'm very dedicated to my boxers. I mean, they need me, and I just feel like if I show them 100, they need to show me 100. If I'm working hard, I want to see you work hard. And I tell them, do not miss camp with him. Do not miss camp with him. So we're dedicated. We're like a glove. Like, we just fit perfectly. We have that tight bond.
Right, lastly, for realsies this time.
They want to go there.
No, I'm sorry, for realsies this time. Sorry, guys. We talked about your fighters as well, and shout out to Against the Rules because you guys were on their podcast, and you named a specific instance where, you know, when you're in that circle of, you know, it's fight night and you're ready to go into the locker with your fighter, you face a lot of, who is this lady? Like, is that your mom? Your mom's not allowed to be in here. You mentioned that on the Against the Rules podcast, which y'all should check out. How do you approach those, you know, experiences, and you teaming up with her, which you know that the type of powerful woman that she is, but maybe people, you know, oh, why does he have like a girl assistant or a girl coach? How do you go through those experiences, and how do you deal with that as well?
Yeah, well, if they have a problem with Trainer Gloria, they're gonna have a problem with me. Yeah, it's like pretty much. It's like I'll just look them straight in the eye. It's like, what's your problem with it? And I'm like,
and then you do this.
Eat out of straws. Make grown men eat out of straws.
Yeah, make them eat out of straws. I have an immense amount of respect for Trainer Gloria. It's just, I've seen her work. I've seen her communicate with her fighters. I've seen her do everything. I've seen her do more than most trainers. It's like she's literally a superwoman. So any like regress, any sort of talk that's derogatory for Trainer Gloria, that's not allowed, and it's not going to be tolerated around me, because no, that's just not allowed.
Plug in your credentials, because for the people that don't know, now they'll know. Plug in all your credentials, just like right here, Coach Andy put his whole list of like training, the people he's trained and their titles. Come on, do some name drop, because you know you've done a lot. So for the people that don't know, who's Coach Gloria?
I'm just a girl from San Fernando Valley that that happened to. I mean, we have a pedigree, you know. I obviously, my daughter's, you know, all her awards and stuff. Was blessed to be born into a family that legendary boxer and kickboxers, and my grandmother. I have 4 generations of female fighters in my family, which are champions and world champions. If in my family, if you were not a fighter, you were a trainer. So I mean, that's just who I am. I was born in a gym. I've been in the gym all my life. I've worked with world champions. I was married to a very well-known trainer before, and I owned my own gym. I had my gym for 16 years. I met him in boxing. A lot of people know me, like a lot of legendary trainers know me. They know who I am. So when we walk into a gym, people say, "Who's that girl?" And people like big names. I'm not gonna name drop, but they would say, "Do you know who that is?" They said, "No, I don't know who that is, but she's really good." He's like, "No, she's really good. You need to know who she is." And yeah, so I mean, I've been hundreds of professional fights, thousands of amateur fights. I've been all over the world with my daughter, traveling with my daughter. We now signed a young kid and we turned him pro, and we trained. We went through all the COVID stuff, and everyone had their eyes on us, and we just kept going around the COVID. We couldn't get over it, but we went around it. We finally made it happen. We debuted him. He got a first round knockout. I did get the kind of story, the funny thing that the opponent sat next to us and he was talking crap, on the phone with someone, his friend, and he tells his friend, "I don't think there's going to be a fight. This guy brought his effing mom," and so my fighter just looked, and I said, "Don't react to that, because tomorrow he's gonna be crying for his mama too." We tried to go in the locker room. They didn't let me in the locker room. They said, "You can't go with him." They said, "Ma'am, you can't come in here. Usted no puede entrar." And I said, and Alan goes, "Why?" And he's like, "Only you and your trainer." He goes, "She is my trainer." And he goes, "Really?" And he said, "Yeah." He goes, "This is going to be interesting." He goes, "Okay, but you can't go in there because only the person is going to wrap his hands." He's like, "Man, let her through. She's wrapping my hands too." He was like so upset. And about 2 seconds later, all these cameras ran in there. And they started watching me wrap his hands. And they told me, "You got 5 minutes." I wrapped them quick, boom, boom, boom. And I wrapped pretty good. So then we were going to go work. And I warmed him up. I was putting on his glove. He was shadow boxing. We're trying to hurry up. And we got the job done. When they saw us mitting, we weren't supposed to fight on camera. And when they saw us mitting and doing our work, the promoter says, "I want them on camera." And the guy was like, "No, they're only a debut, this and that. And we already have cameras." And he goes, "I want them on camera. I don't give up. I want him on camera." And so, yeah, we did our thing. And they called us back, got us another fight.
Awesome. So you guys are already making moves. Let the fans know, boxing fans, all types of fans, combat sports fans, where they can follow you guys. Plug in your Instagrams and social media. And hey, if they want to catch some training, let them know where they can get it to.
Oh yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at @the_elitesmith, and there's a lot of information out there. As you said, I do share a lot of free information. I try to do it daily on my stories. I don't do too many posts. I just post about my fighters, but my stories is pretty much everything that you'll see at a daily, all the training regimens, pretty much an insight into my system. So anyone that's interested in strength and conditioning, what I do, or even other coaches that just want to have a little bit of bits of advice, feel free to watch my stories or DM me. I'm always on there. I'll make sure to respond accordingly.
Okay, this is sad. I don't even know my Instagram.
Yeah, we'll find it. Yes. She actually recently changed it.
They
I
keep
like
changing it. So yeah.
Now, Coach,
Coach
put some
G
respect on the coach part.
There you go.
Okay, yeah, Coach G Boxing. So it's CoachGee Boxing BOXING. Instagram. Yes, and we're open to new people that just want to come to Cali, California, and start a new camp and start off right. You can find us in LA.
In LA.
All right, thank you guys so much for your time. Thank you. Oh, thank you guys. I'm sorry that was so long because I love asking you guys stuff.